Hello, welcome. This is the Daily Dharma. My name is Deana. Thank you so much for joining today, sharing your vibes, and checking this video out. Welcome back if you're returning. I appreciate you so much. This is, of course, a collective reading, and we're just going to check in with where we're at. These first cards are the Sacred Geometry Oracle, Sacred Geometry Activation Oracle cards, and they always remind me of Archangel Metatron. So let's see, it tells me that we have company here today. Okay, Sacral Chakra popping out first, followed by Miracle. Look at the color scheme there. 2 and 33. On the bottom of the deck, we have Root Chakra with Solar Plexus behind it. What else? Fertility, Romantic Love, Coherence, Transition, Delight, Dynamic, Soul Time. So, okay, somebody's getting back to basics, contemplating a transition, something has caught their attention, maybe going back into retreat mode just for a moment, recollecting themselves. In the center, we'll have Remembrance, number 38, followed by 12, Change. We already saw transition. So this is definitely a significant change in your life, whether you're moving homes or jobs or relationship or something, or an extreme makeover, an extreme change in your life. Allowance. And let's stop at one line there. Just going to look under the deck. Alchemy, Cosmic. You know, it's a pretty powerful second line. Let's go ahead and pull them out. So under Sacral Chakra, we'll have 8, Alchemy. Then under Miracle, we have Cosmic Flower. Cosmic Flower, the bloom is definitely the miracle of life. And Cosmic Flower always reminds me of the view of the DNA strand top down. It's that, whether or not that's one of the things it's supposed to symbolize. Merkaba follows that. I'm seeing this as an internal alchemy shift, Divine Feminine. Passion in the third row, because next we have Divine Masculine popping out. And that reminds me, on my astrology read I just posted, I had Chiron in the wrong place, and the Divine Masculine aspect that I was calling out with Mars I thought was conjunct Chiron, but Chiron, I had drawn it in my chart in the one sign behind, Mercury retrograde. Thank you for keeping us humble in our messages. But Chiron is actually conjunct, well, nearly. Venus is catching up to Chiron in Aries, and that puts it into the realm of the Divine Feminine, who's dealing with that shadow work. But the masculine is coming conjunct with Neptune, which is the higher octave of the feminine, but also the god of illusions, the deep sea diver, perhaps we saw in some of the readings recently. So following Divine Masculine, we have Heart Chakra. We've got almost all the chakras out so far. Emergence. Masculine's in his feelings. Perception. Okay. And lastly, consciousness. There's some messages coming in internally for the masculine, so we're getting some, and then following that is realization, discernment, throat chakra, healing, prosperity, and integration. So, yeah, it's fair to say that we're all healing, since we all, beyond gender, we all have both polarities within ourselves, as we always say. So look at this primarily as within yourself and being reflected from those around you, reflecting your own vibration back to yourself. So on this top row, Sacral Chakra, again dealing with the I want to call it the instinctual brain right now, the whole huge ganglia of nerve endings all over the front of the gut. And when we're in tension, for instance, it'll affect our digestion. Some people will have so much tension that they don't bathroom, and other people are going all the time under tension, for instance. So I don't know if that's something that you're dealing with right now, but Sacral Chakra is way beyond that, but we also have the root here. But Sacral Chakra, I'm reaching back into my studies in my head here and being reminded that there's different schools of thought saying that the root is where the baby is learned to root to the mother. Also, it's the first primal instinctual connection made, where Sacral Chakra, moving away from understanding they have their needs met, hopefully, then the Sacral Chakra is when the infant begins to look beyond those needs and becomes curious. So what sparks curiosity besides passion? And so I'm feeling that there's this whole process that comes from something within all of us that has taught us socially acceptable behaviors, when we should assert ourselves, when we should play it safe. And with masculine and feminine continuing to be on the deck or on the desk in the layout, and then we have the masculine feminine aspects nearing the same area of the sky, and then we have Mars and Neptune in sextile 60-degree angle to the sun in the north node, making this illuminating our north node of destiny, the things that we're moving towards. That's where our focus is, that's where our drive is, that's where our curiosity is at, and that's what's pulling us forward. That's our momentum, and our impetus for change is coming in through the remembrance of what we really always wanted, perhaps, or the big long-term goal is coming into view, I'm hearing. So it's something you've either always wanted or have been wanting for a very long time, have put a lot of energy and energy into it yourself. So that same aspect of Mars and Neptune is trine to the south node with the moon. So this is definitely casting off those old emotional baggage that keeps us in those lower vibrational, fear-based maneuvering with other individuals. So on the second line here, well, first, before moving on, so the miracle happens when we clear out the baggage from that instinctual system. So the connection being clearing out the fear-based issues from our psyche, basically, is going to clarify the desire nature. It's going to clarify our ability to see what our desires are, and in the light of day, perhaps, bringing them out and sorting out which ones are priority. And then as we really give ourselves permission, we see that we're deserving of these. We know that we've put in the work now. It's coming to fruition. So miracle has been out a few times recently. So there's a huge change coming in for us that's allowing these even bigger changes. It's like a chain reaction, domino effect. So one thing, one choice can change your destiny. So don't allow fears to hold you back. Remembrance of people's advising or people's negative projections onto your dreams or onto what you feel comfortable doing to pursue your goals. I mean, if these are worth it, then remember why you're doing it. Keep yourself focused. Don't let yourself get back into the backsliding into old habits. You know, keep on trying. And this whole thing is really, I'm not sure if the change is creating the shift, or I mean, that's kind of one and the same, but I'm saying the external change pushing the internal, or the internal accommodating the ability to bring it in. I think it's a combination of both. It's like that same figure eight that keeps exchanging with the universe, and as we allow things to come through, it's like we're allowing our blessings to come in. That's what it is. So not blocking out our blessings, not self-sabotaging, because our worth has reached a level where we perceive the miracles and we're willing to surrender to what's coming in for us, the change. It's like, do you take that leap of faith, something that you want really, really, really bad, I want to say, but bad seems like the wrong word. You want it really good? Ooh, yeah, that remembrance card. Yeah, keep that one to myself. Alchemy on the second row. So alchemy is the strength card in the major arcana. And I always notice the inside of the two wheels and then the center wheel here. And if I could turn that just right to get the colors. It's coming through purple. There, it's somewhere. Isn't that a cool effect? I don't know if that's coming through on your end or if it's just doing that color blip on my end, but it's actually some oranges, corals, pinks, a little pale purple, and then within the color wheel on either side, one has some rainbow bands, red, yellow. The other one has more of a purple and blue color scheme. And it looks to me like the aura coloring of different individuals. And then that central larger sphere is like, okay, 1 and 1 don't make 2, they make 3, because 2 people coming together for whatever type of partnership, there's the 2 individuals that still need to remain sovereign unto themselves, independent and self-reliant, self-respective, self-replenishing, as well as then there's that third entity of the relationship that also needs to be nurtured and brought into fruition, because as we see to our own needs, if we're contracted to each other by choice or by proximity or whatever, you know, if somebody trips in a hole and breaks their leg, you know, you're going to help them to stand up, right? It's that responsibility that comes from interaction, that synergy. So yeah, that seemed like a really random and dramatic message, but I'm hearing the whole death do us part of the contract of, in this case, often marriage, but there may be many different types of contracts shifting and changing right now. Somebody who may have been obstinate in a situation, resisting change, is becoming more flexible, allowing the compromise necessary to remember what they're fighting for is peace. And you can't fight for peace, you have to allow peace through surrender. That's where the miracle's at. So it's the responsibility and accountability that comes through that compromising, but not compromising on what's very, very important. And that's where you get the seed that actually can produce the fruit. And the flower comes before the fruit, if you know anything about plants. And this is kind of telling me like the alchemy of the soil. You need to have enough sun, enough nutrients in the soil. It needs to have enough oxygen to aerate the soil. You need bugs and earthworms to move through the soil to keep it healthy. Sometimes you need to add things to the soil to help it have the right chemical makeup for something, like a rose, for instance, or something else meaty like an orchid is going to be a little different than a ditch lily, or maybe like a pine tree or something that is used to being off on its own. And if you're identifying with the pine tree, you might benefit from adding a little something new to your soil. New ground, new passions to invest in, letting yourself go out on a limb and take a risk, I'm hearing. So yeah, that cosmic flower, so the fruit typically outdoes what the flowers promise, I'm hearing. So, and it's a message of timing as well. You can't rush your harvest. This is the springtime where I'm at and when I'm at, but you first have to plant the seed. You have to produce the environment like we started talking, and then there's this whole period of waiting and making sure that the weeds continue to be pulled back and the appropriate environment is continued to be nurtured. So the weeds that might grow up in your fear-based living, or the doubts that might arise saying, oh, well, it didn't work out with this other person and I'm afraid to lose myself again. That card is in the handwritten deck. These are definite real concerns when we do any type of a big change, obviously. So from this cosmic flower, next we have Merkaba that's coming right up beside this divine feminine, and on the other side of her we have passion. So with Merkaba at dead center, Merkaba comes underneath remembrance and above emergence. So right now we're just at the time where the plants are first breaking ground, starting to emerge above the soil surface. So there's something new budding. And with Merkaba, it looks like maintaining your own atmosphere and weeding your own mental garden is going to be really powerful practice for you at this time. We do have Uranus in this sign with the sun in the north node, so it's definitely clearing out the past and pioneering the new, and having the courage and the leadership to be resilient and strong, and to have the courage to pursue our dreams. So it's this feminine with the passion and the masculine with the heart that I'm noticing here too. And I've been thinking, you all can try to fight me on this. I've been thinking that from an early age it's probably equal, but mature individuals, I almost feel that in a mutual relationship, that the masculine feels the love first, because the masculine is noticing the heart expansion. Well, they both probably would, and they both probably get in their head a little bit at the beginning or in the beginning of a contract. But I'm feeling that the thing that is activating the emotional sensibilities is the passion. So the passion is creating this urge to nurture and expand and have some chemistry lessons here between the two. And by that I don't only mean, mixing of fluids. I mean the alchemy that happens with the alchemy of personality psyche, emotional needs, love languages, that kind of alchemy is the true miracle that creates flowers and expands the field. And with Merkaba too, I'm feeling like that is that third circle here. And somebody may be starting a young family or something like that in the literal sense, but in the symbolic sense, I'm seeing the masculine, feminine forces, even if it's that just within yourself, that left and right coming together. Maybe you're practicing your yoga or Tai Chi where you're starting to pull your energy into your center, and but between two parties, let's say, I'm seeing those two, the masculine and feminine, reaching towards the center and commingling energy signatures, and thus creating a safe space, a sanctuary for the seed of the potential of something very, very nurturing, that has the potential to be very sustaining. Like, it's that feeling of home. I saw 2121, but it's also like someone that you share passions with. So passion is so many levels too, right? So on the feminine level, I'm seeing a lot of chaotic energy, which chaos isn't always horrible, but chaos is scattered energy. So it may be difficult for the emotional forces to feel calm and easy. They're probably very excited and hot and driven and ready to push into new territory. So at 22, I'm moving to the next line for the 22 card, Divine Masculine. This beautiful little square energy, the four corners of stability, structure, and it often looks like an eye. I don't know if your beloved may have blue eyes, but it could be so many other things. I'm seeing someone sitting alone in their home, a masculine, pondering in their head. I'm seeing one of my cards from my other deck, pondering romance. So the heart chakra here, it's often that our masculine polarity within everybody in this society and many others will start to kind of develop defensive maneuvering, try to shield and guard and maintain security and privacy, and want to be sure, of course. But I'm seeing that the masculine's resistance to the heart expansion is creating a little bit of pain at first, and it's probably created some powerful release and reframing of the past, and this is allowing an emergence of a new perspective with perception and consciousness. It's like looking back and understanding the situation for what it was. Instead of blaming ourselves, we can look back and say, well, there were two that put the energy into the ball of that relationship. And if the two of us weren't very good at weeding out the garbage, and we just fed the garbage back in and never cleared it out, then ultimately that was a situational, circumstantial predicament or scenario or relationship or job, whatever it was, that is called to your attention. Clearing out those lower perspectives that have kept somebody in. I keep hearing this story that I heard recently about men that were in trouble with the law because of female input, I'll say, and that there was now this question mark of, well, do you get in trouble because you're chasing this tail that you get obsessed with and then you can't have, and then there's this control dynamic. Maybe you'd be better off going with this low-hanging fruit over here. And it keeps coming up because I was seeing it the other day when I mentioned low-hanging fruit. And it's definitely one way to play it safe and to not get your passions enmeshed in a circumstance that quickly gets out of your emotional control. But when you tangle with lower energies that you ultimately have no intentions of pursuing, then really you're karmically entangling with the energy. Because I don't know if any of you have heard the quote, and I don't do well with quotes because I don't prepare them in advance. Spirit's just showing me them. It's something about the lowest expression of femininity is to kind of glamour and beguile the man and ensnare him with her beauty and sexuality. And the lowest expression of masculinity is to arouse and awaken the feminine with no urge or intention to stick around for her. Especially if you have someone who has children. And this goes for men and women. I mean, either way, if you are playing one of those low roles, then you have to reevaluate the karma behind that. And if you were doing this in the past and now you've come through and had some medicine, then perhaps it's time to just cut ties and forgive yourself and others and move forward with the new intention of energy exchange. And once you've witnessed your karma, if you've learned your lesson, that wasn't as fulfilling. I mean, what is fulfilling? The pellet that we can have anytime we push it? Or is it the complexity and the curiosity that pulls us forth with something that's incredibly intriguing and arousing energetically and intellectually, right? Stimulating heart, mind, spirit, just tingling our entire auric field, right? Why would you cheat yourself from an opportunity like that, except unless you were in a cycle of fear, doubt, or low self-worth, distrust, suspicion, fear of betrayal. If you keep giving those energies precedence in your mind, and if you keep going for low-hanging fruit and seeing that as the best option, that's where the energy remains. You need to have the courage to step into a better future, to accept the miracles coming your way. Let's get a few cards from the Shaman's Dream Oracle. I wish you guys all the best in this. And again, both of those polarity energies can be within yourself. And ultimately, it's just like that pendulum swinging, trying to find that fulcrum of balance within all of us. There we go. The Divine Feminine popping out once again. Number 6 corresponds with the Lover's card. Can you get that in better view? That's about good. It's very subtle in the coloring. It's whites and pastel crystalline energy. Cosmic Womb, the Divine Feminine. I'm seeing this as our ability to 29, our ability, which is 11, right? It's our ability to nurture something and synergize and cooperate with another individual on the whatever the cooperative venture is going to be. It's creating the space and feeding the the what do I want to say? Like the mind child of Zeus popped forth from his forehead, like from his third eye. It was like his manifestation, his complete envisionment of exactly what he wanted, created the, what was it? Was it Pallas Athena that came forth? And she was this intellectual, strategic warrior goddess, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so something has been created here. The seed is wanting to be taken. I'm thinking with this. And it's set on top of Sacral Chakra, which is where the womb is at, Miracle, which is miracle of birth, Alchemy, and Cosmic Flower, bloom, right? And the number of the lovers. There's definitely something going on. If you're not looking to be pregnant, then definitely take your precautions if you're of that age and that circumstantial engagement. Number 11, deep quiet, meditation and stillness over Miracle, Cosmic Flower, Remembrance, and Merkaba. Yeah, clearing your mind, body, field of anything that doesn't serve. You don't need to know a whole lot about your chakra systems to clear out debris. Just invoke the powers that be. And there's something more here too. It's like there's this concept I heard of recently called a spirit baby, like somebody having a child that wants to be seeded into our 3D reality through the perfect divine pairing. And there's this soul contract that's wanting to be taken, but it's not necessarily signed in stone for people, right? You need to take these as you will, because this spirit baby can also be your baby job, right? How often do people refer to their pet projects as their baby? You know, so whatever your baby is, it's calling to you, and you're the one that's bringing it into form. Yes, beloved, precious. Number 2, radical acceptance of yourself, I'm hearing, and of any perceived failure is ultimately a redirection, and that comes over remembrance of in Merkaba, so clearing out those past fears and moving onto change in the divine feminine. So having the emotional courage to love something enough to nurture it to fruition. And number 8, crown games, right use of power, coming over change, divine feminine, allowance, and passion. Somebody wants to become involved in something here, and they need to change their approach. They're probably a little bit too strategic. And I was thinking the definition of player isn't somebody who gets a lot of play. It's somebody who plays with love rather than seeing it as the as just everything that is all that I can say. It is all that there is. And so when we withhold, when we're strategic, we're only withholding our own love from pouring forth into the world. So make sure that you're not trying to strategically do something beyond what your highest intention is, because sometimes we do need to be strategic, because sometimes what we want is to chase. For instance, runner chaser dynamic is a huge one with people on the spiritual path that fall into the twin flame dynamic, because one person is very they have a lot of longing and a lot of perception of unmet needs, a perception of loneliness and solitude that is perhaps great at many times, but then other times can be oppressive. And this longing feels out of control. And then the other partner, nobody likes to be chased. What happens when somebody starts running? Everybody runs. We can see it on prank videos. And if somebody starts running after you, the first thing you're going to do is be like, whoa, slow your roll, right? So, yeah, it's not strategy. It's being sovereign unto yourself. Don't rush anything at the beginning. Allow the plant. There's another saying. It's when you plant some seeds, you don't dig them up every day to see if they've sprouted roots, because you disturb the fragile root system just when it's starting to try to grow. You need to just trust that most, hopefully all of those seeds will germinate by creating the environment. So instead of concern about the what ifs, you've got the advice here of following your gut instincts, unless you're being ruled by your fear-based reality and undeservingness, or beating yourself up, or thinking that you should look or think or feel or act differently than you really do. And that's also an 8, which is alchemy. So the alchemy of your internal biochemistry. You can't fake it. If you're feeling clingy and insecure, and don't wash that out of your system, it doesn't matter if you are strategic till you turn blue in the face. That's still a chasing energy, and that is felt on the other side telepathically, especially the more conscious that the other party is. And the same thing in a business partnership. If you're, like, let's say, using another individual, or jealous or envious of one person being more the forerunner and one person's more the, let's say, the accountant, and the accountant wants to really be more popular or something, it's like the right use of power isn't kind of unsettling them and pulling the rug out from under them by manipulating and doing whatever, obviously, right? Most of us know this, but how often do we find ourselves in our heads with a thought that isn't of the highest, and then we have to pull back and correct? If it could be anything. I'm just using some easy examples, something that everybody has seen happen, destructive tendencies that those weeds can grow under the surface of any partnership and completely destroy the seed that has been planted, the good seed. So both partners need to compromise and connect on that one. So Garden of Venus, coming over alchemy, cosmic flower, divine masculine, and heart chakra. So Garden of Venus, all this talk of gardening. We've got a beautiful hummingbird there and a heart hanging in the bough of the tree. It's just prolific, beautiful, abundant, in full bloom. And like I said, it's on the alchemy and the cosmic flower. It's growing the garden of the inner temple, and then allowing someone entry into the secret garden. Ooh, is that so? Someone may have the key to your garden gate. Some of the things that go in my head. I was just the 3 little pigs and the big bad wolf story. Somebody's got some reservations. They don't want to be somebody's one and done. Detox. We've already talked about detox here. This comes over cosmic flower, Merkaba, heart, and emergence. So there's a lot of abundance here, and both parties have a lot to offer and a lot to bring into this. With all of these cards, this is a beautiful reading. It really is. I don't mean to make light of it. But the Mitox says repairing the body, mind, spirit. And I can see that on multi-levels here, the masculine and feminine both being out within ourselves, alchemizing, taking the step back to reassess the cosmic womb we've created for our own selves. Because just like we're all at different times our own little butterfly, moth, and our own little chrysalis, that's also this cosmic womb around the self. It's all those little harmonics, the seeds we plant, the intentions we plant, and then the environment we create for them mimics the environment we create for ourselves. Like if you have houseplants that are always starved for water, you probably could use some water yourself. And this mermaid is in a bath with this big bubble. It's like when the fishermen don't go out to sea, they mend their nets. So it's like if your perfect opportunity or lover is taking a little bit of time, it may be the perfect time for your deep, quiet, still meditation to create a sacred space to rebirth yourself. Oh, I'm seeing someone. There may also be, there's this technique of taking your soul back in time and rebirthing yourself. I can't remember it right now, but there's something coming through on that. But this situation arising, this change and this shift, this miraculous shift coming in, is allowing you to remember who you are, and seeing yourself, the materialized version of the seeds you've planted are starting to emerge. I know I just moved and I've got a garden starting and I've got my flowers starting. So it's just that perfect time to reassess, how does your garden grow? And what needs to be weeded at this full moon from your cosmic psyche, the inclusive you that is the I am. Spirit of the river, movement towards adventure. Definitely, somebody's embracing change. There's a passionate new beginning that has allowed somebody to already see, okay, if it's activating my heart and my desire center and my passions, my root is on fire with it coming over passion, but also over consciousness. It's like somebody who's consciously kind of pumping the brakes so that they don't jump in and spoil before the harvest type of thing. Dream thief, that's a tough one to come at the end. Refusal of the call, coming over feminine, perception, passion, and consciousness. So don't get caught up in the illusion that you are waiting for something to happen. You never need to wait. Even though we were just talking about patience, right? Waiting is different than patience. When we want something and we want someone to do something for us, that's waiting, that's expectation. And when we want something, it's for us to act upon it. And patience is when you've done what you wanted to do and you're allowing the time and space for the shift to happen on the other end so that the echo comes back and you receive the call back. So to refuse the call is like someone has perhaps put a few things out there and someone is maybe sleeping on it. Fear of something extremely deep. But it looks like it's still in gestation. Deep, quiet, and cosmic womb here over Garden of Venus and Mitox. Somebody's clearing their space and energy for this, trying to accept themselves, trying to clear out any old machinations. What is that word? It just keeps going in my head. Spirit of the river is movement towards adventure. So I feel like Dream Thief is a little bit confusing to me. So I'm going to take one more here. Vanishing Mirror, ego sublimation. Yeah. Somebody's just kind of taking a little bit extra time. They want to be very sure. And if that's what your intuition is telling you, you need to honor that for sure. You can't fake it and then pull back afterwards. Okay. Oh, and under the deck this whole time we had intentionality, Eye of the Needle. So I think that this time and space is the perfect thing. One more card here. Yes, Unmarked Trail. Revelation. I was seeing this earlier as, you know, when you wring a towel to squeeze out the energy, or wringing your hair or whatever. Someone's feeling overworked, tired, depleted, and they need this stillness, this time and space away. So somebody may have already taken the space. Another person is being advised that they're doing too much and they need to take this time and space because they're getting really worn out and wrung out. And on the other end, it's kind of good to squeeze out that old water, right? So yeah, there's definitely a purging of the old waters, the old stagnant waters, so that it doesn't get yucky and moldy, keeping it from growing fungus and stuff, right? Right, all these gardening terms. All right, well, that has already been quite a long one, but it seemed to be pretty deep for somebody in some different ways. I was trying to keep it as vague as possible so that many people could get their reading from it. 3, solar plexus chakra. Yeah, somebody's contemplating whether to act, how to act, what to do, when to take action. Coming to see you. Maybe there's a gathering. Trauma bonding. Interesting. Coming over beloved change and remembrance. Trauma bonding is when we're attracted to partners that exhibit the exact behaviors and personality traits that are triggering us for the divine purpose of waking us up to our own power to replenish whatever we're, like our insecurities. If somebody's triggering your insecurities, self-love is the antidote, and that can't come from your partner. You can't expect your partner to love the insecurities out of yourself. You have to know who you are and what you bring to the table. Don't allow yourself to be taken for granted, and allow someone who's not taking action to continue to take you for granted, right? Okay. This could happen for a boss, that accountant. Balance your own books. That's pretty difficult for someone who's not into that. Cognitive dissonance, mind over matter, coming over crown games. Exactly. So don't take other individuals for granted at this time. You will probably be very disappointed if you do so, because not everything is revealed until the fullness of the lunar eclipse. Repression. Somebody's repressed authority center, long distance. They've come a long way with this repressed issue, but they're still, they're not taking action because they're not responding to their desire nature. They feel like they're not supposed to. Could be for many different reasons. Let's keep moving. So yeah, call your power back. You only need to have the intentionality and keep yourself focused on what you deserve and what you're looking for. If you're not seeing what you're looking for in front of you, then keep calling it in, and that what's in front of you will either shift to accommodate and align and compromise, or something new will come in to take its place. That's legit. Crown chakra 7, chemistry over here by passion. Neptune, mature masculine, extrovert, overlooked opportunity. I don't know if I can keep my hands to myself. Earth star chakra, unity, and addiction, self-medicate, all popped out in a pile. So that's kind of a lot. So mature masculine that seems to be extroverted, outgoing, charismatic, has some type of addiction or self-medication issue going on, and that doesn't have to be substance abuse. Don't make any assumptions here. There are many addictions. It can be, shopping addiction or porn addiction. It can be so many different things. Gaming, a lot of, well, probably not a mature masculine, but hey, who am I to judge? I see a lot of fathers and people that have a lot of responsibility still gaming. It's a choice, I guess. It's just something I misunderstand. But there's an overlooked opportunity. So Neptune says stay lucid, stay awake. Don't allow yourself to be lulled back into your comfort zone here, back into your addictions, back into watching reruns of whatever version of someone else leading an exciting life while you let life pass you by. There's overlooked opportunities passing you by every minute that you stay in addictions. So I don't know if I can keep my hands to myself. I don't know if this individual I'll just let that one be the obvious one for right now. There are other things, but so this Earth Star Chakra, unity. Unity is here on the table. Earth Star Chakra is like that same thing I said earlier, feeling like home, feeling like you're coming home to something that's very unifying passions we talked about. And even this ringing, it kind of looks like that alchemy card where that center bulb is both sides, top and bottom, left and right. The within and the without are pulling and pushing, and the center is what's being developed here, and it's like both are reaching into that center for unity. Under the deck, golden light code activation, so get out into nature, breathe deeply into some fresh air, get some nature, ground, hydrate, cleanse and clear. Express yourself and be radiant. Copycat, somebody may be following what you do or competing with you. What would your best friends say about the situation? And then we also have Soul Star Chakra. Interesting. Transcendence and guidance. I'm seeing this again, that those universal laws, as above, so below. There's something that is like, as far as you've been in the shadow, the light is equal. So however low you've been in the past, because of your willingness and intentionality, there's the potential for you to have, in this situation, in this contract, in this new idea, to reach down into the unifying sentiments I'm hearing that connect us all at the very root, but then also transmuting and transcending the storms and the muddy, swampy, murky earth bits, because you're also reaching upwards into, alleviating that stuff, using it as the fertilizer it's meant to be. Right, so it's also, and if this is a couple, this very well could be a twin flame, type of a soulmate, whatever you believe in, type of a gathering or connection here, because with the Earth Star and Soul Star, it transcends normal boundaries. It transcends what you have experienced in the past. Mixed signals. Give a sign Take action. Meditation brings solutions. Define your path. Opportunity or distraction. Medicine or poison. Consider the dose. For the introvert. So yeah, there's synchronicity, divine luck, and intervention here. So alright, another long one today, but it felt really good to get all those messages out. I hope you were able to get something that resonated with you. And if you did, please don't hesitate to give us a like, a share, subscribe, check in with a comment, let us know what it is that resonated. Mother Fierce, yet again, you're protected, and this is divine. Whatever has lit this fire, this passion within you, you're being protected. The relationship or the contract is being protected. Don't let appearances tell you that anything is not above the table, not above board. Lalita Tripura Sundari, Yuga Shakti. I had a lot, but I'm going to take the one under the table. Yes, there's been a lot of turmoil in the past. There's been some perhaps lovers that were, or partners, business, whatever, that haven't had your best interest or have seemed to be very cutthroat. But you're coming out of this with a lot of grace and a lot of perspective and wisdom. You have a lot of tools and clarity, and you know how to express what it is you need and desire. Timing is at play. And the ancestors are telling you that wherever, it's like they've got your back, and whatever it is that you've been working on, it's about to really pay off. Okay. Oh boy. A card of emerging, bear with me. So this is a really cool card. Kali Mahamaya. Maya is illusion. And look at how she's emerging from the waters and how her reflection is there. So if, this is going to be the end of the video. Tree of life. If you can picture the tree of life, some people are reaching up for that soul star from the root and exchanging those energies between all of the different pivot points, and every path that they take, they're trying to build and exchange energy to climb up that hierarchy of human needs into transcendence and self-actualization. That's in the positive spinning root center. But then there are those others who have become so lost that they're sideways, they're beside themselves. Then there's those that have really given up and have lost their way completely, becoming soul blind perhaps, and they're living in the negative tree of life, and that root and all other issues begin spinning backwards, and it becomes like, okay, so supposedly what, the vampire can't see itself in the mirror, but I'm seeing like that incubus, succubus energy that comes from the addiction self, the shadow self, if we allow ourselves to remain hidden below the surface, playing small, submerged below the illusion or fear-based Maya. Look into that if that word calls to you. There are people that are completely submerged, and it's not necessarily our job to save every single starfish on the seashore, but if we can just save one by throwing it back into the water in the correct orientation, face up. Live crew, are you kidding me? The song lyrics that come in. Somebody's wanting something very dramatic, and they're coming out of a long period of believing a lot of illusion, and they're taking back their power from their illusions and their enlightenment is coming forth, and it's creating miracles in your life. So I will leave it at that, and take good care of yourself. Have a great evening, and we'll be back soon. Thanks.